Ethereum is going to have a $1 trillion plus market cap in the coming years. This video will lay out some of the reasons why I personally believe that the Ethereum ecosystem is ready for massive expansion and why Ether will increase dramatically in price as a result. Ethereum, I really think more than any other cryptocurrency, is delivering on the promise of blockchain technology. It is absolutely leading the pack for financial services, and it is developing a host of other use cases that can dramatically change the way that things are done. And yes, of course, other blockchains are going to do very, very well too. There are even some new blockchains out there that I think have incredible potential to shake things up and to find their own niches and use cases in the coming years. But you know what? None of them are anywhere close to Ethereum in terms of their network effect right now. I mean, sure, Tezos and Cardano and Hashgraph and quite a few others, they have got a lot of promise, but none of them are as close as Ethereum to having just really a critical breakout moment. The Crypto Lark. This is where you subscribe for all of the hottest and all of the latest happening out here in the wild, wild lands of crypto. Also, if you are new to crypto and you're still trying to figure out all of the basics, like where do I even buy Ethereum? What is Bitcoin? How do I send Ethereum? How do I store my Ethereum? And of course, how do I even build my crypto portfolio, as well as lots of other resources and tips? Then you need to check out my beginner's course, Cryptocurrency Explained. It will take you through all of this stuff and more with step-by-step tutorials and great resources to get you started. There's a link down below where you can learn more. Okay, so I want to preface this conversation with the quick disclaimer that yes, Bitcoin is very, very cool. It really, really is. Bitcoin is a store of digital value and it represents the height of digital scarcity. It is the tip of the spear of the crypto world. But functionally, that is about where Bitcoin ends. There's no tokens on Bitcoin. There's no decentralized finance. There's no rich smart contracts. There's no decentralized exchanges. There's no STOs. There's no gaming. There's very little enterprise adoption and way fewer developers working on Bitcoin and building on Bitcoin. And there's also no functional plan currently in the works to dramatically increase the transaction throughput. And I say all that as someone who is really, really bullish on Bitcoin, and the majority of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. But you don't need to pretend that Bitcoin is something that it isn't. Ethereum right now is in a big bang-like explosion of innovation. It is creating this network effect that other chains are really, really going to struggle to ever rival and to catch up with. And here are the reasons why I believe Ethereum is going to just crush it in the coming years. Let's start off with decentralized finance. So the entire financial services industry is in excess in value of $26 trillion, and most of that industry will benefit from public blockchain networks. Because blockchain is more efficient, it's faster, and it's cheaper than the systems that they are currently using. And it also massively reduces friction while opening up the doors to basically everyone, everywhere, which will tap trillions of dollars in new markets and new value. Right now with Ethereum, you can take a loan in seconds, using your crypto assets as collateral. It's wild. You can swap tokens in the blink of an eye. You can even take out insurance on different smart contracts and things like this. You can also even earn money by providing liquidity into the markets, and the rates are way better than you get with a bank. You can even play the lottery on Ethereum. These are all early iterations of what is possible, but these early iterations, they are paving the way for a wide array of features which are currently being built and actually seeing their first deployments. We're talking about things like real world backed loans, right? IPOs, bonds, real estate, stocks, derivatives, tokenized art, and so much more. Now, all of these markets, they represent tens of trillions of dollars worth of value. I mean, the stock markets are gigantic globally. The real estate market's huge, and Ethereum is the leader in all of these categories right now. Then we can talk about stablecoins. Stablecoins are definitely at home on Ethereum. Yes, they are on other chains too, but the overwhelming majority of stablecoins in terms of total value and number of stablecoins and number of transactions, it's on Ethereum, baby. The transfer of stablecoins also can dramatically disrupt the global remittances industry, which delivers real value to some of the world's poorest and most vulnerable people. And also, it is an industry which is over $550 billion annually. And of course, decentralized finance as a whole is perhaps the biggest challenge to the existing financial system. We can have financial services without the rapacious middlemen. It's easier to use, there's better rates, and it's way more accessible to a wider range of people. And yes, of course, we must acknowledge that decentralized finance, it will be multi-chain in the future. But the reality right now is that 98% of decentralized finance infrastructure, it is built on Ethereum. It is not built on other chains. I mean, let's just take Bitcoin as an example. You see, decentralized finance, it is coming to Bitcoin, but it's coming through Ethereum. We have the P token, which is bringing in PBTC. We have TBTC. We have wrapped Bitcoin, or WBTC, if you will. These are all one-for-one proxies of Bitcoin. Of course, we've also had the recent announcement from Rootstock that they're building a bridge from Bitcoin over to Ethereum so that their Bitcoin-backed tokens can actually access Ethereum infrastructure and the liquidity of the Ethereum markets. And of course, then there's Ren, which is bringing Bitcoin to Ethereum via interoperability. You see a theme here, and that's a lot of other chains too that are also building these bridges. All roads lead to Ethereum. It is becoming the digital Rome. Then, of course, if we talk about financial services being disrupted, then obviously we have to talk about enterprises and their systems being disrupted, particularly the enterprise adoption of blockchain. Now, according to research firm Gartner, enterprise blockchain solutions could be worth in excess of $3 trillion by 2030. That's a pretty massive industry. Now, we already have Ethereum focusing on this with the eminent task force aimed at onboarding new enterprises to Ethereum. And recently, of course, they also announced the baseline protocol, which will leverage the Ernst & Young Nightfall protocol to allow for private enterprise value transfer across the public Ethereum blockchain. We're not talking about private chains, walled gardens, public networks. This is the new intranet that's being built here. And of course, the Ethereum Enterprise Foundation, it is comprised of some of the biggest names in the world, and just a few pulled from the hat here. There's the Chamber of Digital Commerce, there's Banco Santander, there's FedEx, there's Intel, there's JP Morgan, there's Microsoft, there's Cyberbank, which is the biggest bank in Russia, and many, many more. Yes, enterprises are also working with other blockchains, and that's okay. But again, Ethereum, miles ahead of the nearest competitor. And it's also encouraging to see that increasingly these enterprises, they are opting for public open source networks for their needs. They're not just building their private walled gardens. And we're going to see things like customer relation management, invoicing, supply chain, enterprise resource planning, all that kind of stuff being done on blockchain and on public open blockchains. It's so important to underline that. Of course, the finance industry is not the only industry that is going to be disrupted. We have supply chains, we have land registry, we have art, and we have, of course, gaming, among others. These are all going to see more value brought to their industries via blockchain technology, particularly Ethereum. Now, taking gaming as an example, crypto companies like Ethereum-based Engine are actually leading the charge in gaming adoption, with dozens of games being built on their technology. Gaming, by the way, pretty big deal, currently worth $150 billion annually and forecast increase to $300 billion by 2025. Ethereum captures even a percentage of that. It will be significant. Ethereum also continues to have a massive lead in terms of developer community. Over 1,000 people working just on the Ethereum main chain at the moment, with many, many thousands more building applications on top of Ethereum. The Ethereum Foundation and Consensus have committed to getting 1 million developers building on Ethereum. It would be the biggest blockchain community by far. It already is the biggest blockchain developer community. This would just put it in a league of its own. Still a lot of work to do on that 1 million goal, but it's a great goal. Also, on that similar topic, there's a part of Ethereum 2.0 which really doesn't get discussed all that much, But this is called the WebAssembly. Now, the WebAssembly, what's particularly interesting in this conversation I'm having with you now, is that it will allow for developers to build on Ethereum using different programming languages, C, C++, and Rust. Now, that will greatly expand the community of potential developers for Ethereum, which obviously, again, massive for Ethereum. And speaking of ETH 2.0, we will see multi-client testnets going live probably this month. And a final factor that makes me bullish on Ethereum and just reinforces my conviction that Ethereum will have a market cap in excess of $1 trillion, and that actually Ethereum may be the investment of the frickin' decade, man, is the economics for Ethereum. You see, next year, the glacier period for Ethereum will drop Ethereum emissions significantly below what Bitcoin's is currently, with a 0.5% inflation rate, which Bitcoin will not match until 2028. Ethereum staking coming soon, of course, will likely have a dramatic effect on supply as well. Just look at Tezos. 80% of Tezos is staked for a 5 to 6% annual reward. The demand for Ethereum, I imagine, will be very, very similar. Massive demand is going to flow in for people wanting to stake their Ethereum. Obviously, that will drive the prices much, much higher. Combine this with the increasing demand for Ethereum to be locked into DeFi applications, along with EIP 1559, which is an Ethereum improvement protocol, which will introduce fee burning to Ethereum. And you quickly realize that Ethereum is poised for some very exciting price action in the coming years. And beyond, as well, really just continuing to be the public network of choice for applications, for enterprises, and for developers. I mean, all of these reasons and more are why I am so excited about Ethereum moving forward, and why it is my second biggest holding, and why I continue to dollar cost average into Ethereum on a weekly basis and just stack, gwei, and chill. But hey, those of course are just my two gwei. I would love to know your thoughts on Ethereum. Will Ethereum cross over the $1 trillion market cap target, or have I been hitting the hopium bong a little bit too much? And do you think that the upgrade for Ethereum, maybe is it just too little too late? Or is there another chain that's going to come by and just totally take over Ethereum? And if there is another chain that you think is going to eat Ethereum's lunch, which chain will it be? Thank you for watching today's episode. Hope you're having a freaking fantastic day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Staying safe, having fun, all that good stuff, guys. Really, really appreciate you watching today's video. And if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that thumbs up to appease my masters over at YouTube. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.